prayed that Titi will still be where she was. Luckily, Titi was waiting to say, Daddy, how? I say, I got it. And that was a very happy day. So many happy days. And of course, another happy day was when Tobisin was born. Then I said, now I become a grandpa. And so many things. The day my first son got married. And then when I start having world record, everybody is a boy, everybody is a boy. I'm waiting for when I will get the pet, the girl.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Very good. So now another question I want to ask is, if you could rewind time, where would you rewind it to, and what would you do differently?
You mean to do something differently?
Yes, if you could go back in time, where would you want to go to, and then what would you do differently?
If I were to rewind time, I don't know what I would do. If I would prefer to come the same way I came. It was rough, but finally it's a beautiful thing. I think I like my life. I came from the humble life of being in a village. You know, I started school in 1943 in Oko village. We were the first students. The first student in the school. And we were all only 4 or 5 people. Children. After 2 years, they said this is more than the school. We had to be traveling 10 miles to another village to read the instances in 1945. So after all those, if you look at what I wrote, I spent 10 years in primary school. They used to spend 9 years in those days, but we lost 2 years because our father was moving from place to place. So with that, again, from that raw background, I came first to secondary school and got scholarship. I don't want to rewind it because I had 5 different scholarships. Maybe I've never told you. I tell you the scholarship. I got a government scholarship in Elisha Grammar School for 5 years in the secondary school. Russian government Afro-Asian Solidarity Committee scholarship from Soviet government for 7 years. Then African American Institute scholarship in the United States. I got Stony Brook University graduate assistantship. Actually, that's one I used for the first year before I changed to the scholarship they gave me. That's 4. And then to write my thesis, Rockefeller Foundation gave me scholarship for $10,000. I can't be happier than any. I don't want to rewind it because I think I was lucky throughout. I will have been a tax literate. It's for luck. So that's why I think I have a pleasant life. And now look at it. I have so many. I have 7 children, all of them beautiful and nice, and they all make it. In fact, the baby of the house have just finished the high school. If I want to rewind it, do I want to rewind it to? I think I have it. I'm happy with my life. If I come, I want to start it and do the same thing again. What's it?
Thank you very much. So I have another question. Your father was a businessman. Yes. Your only full sister is a businesswoman. Most of your siblings are business people. How is it that you did not end up in business? Instead, you ended up teaching.
It is a very interesting question. I learned something from my father. When the father is telling the kids what they are going to be, the kids have to be very careful. They may be what he wants them to be. Our father said something that we were all the time laughing, but we never knew what the man was doing. My father told us that we were going to be teachers. He told me I was going to be a teacher. And my brother, Olu, we were the 2 with him. Both of us are teachers. He said Bashola is going to be a lawyer, or no, not lawyer. Say he's going to be a policeman or army man. He said anything dealing with the law. The man never thought of law until the child now becomes a lawyer. He said, oh, that's the work for him. He wanted Mrs. Saba to be a nurse. She's a nurse. when he was working, one very interesting thing is that, you know, it was a big trader. Then suddenly he started making his own medicine. I don't know if you know that my father was a native doctor. I would say native doctor. They call them not pharmacists actually. They use a name for them in Nigeria. I will remember that. Now they were making their own medicine. You get me? They can make herbalists. They were herbal. My father was one of the first Nigerian certificated herbalists that the federal government gave the certificate. So he had 3 children with him. At the time we left already. He had your uncle Ishola, your uncle Tunde, and your uncle Femi. Those were the 3 children. Now he assigned duties to them. The first duty he gave them is he said, Ishola will be in charge of everything. We'll be making the medicine. When we pour the medicine, the drug into the bottle, we bottle the drugs and put the label on it and just bring the finished product to him. He is the one who told them what to do. Now, Tunde Ishola now was the boss. He assigned the job to Tunde. Papa said that Tunde's job was to be the youngest one. His job was to be washing all the bottles they were going to use. Femi's job was to write everything they buy and put everything down. And you know what all of them became? Ishola was to be in charge of the dog. He's not a pharmacist. Today who was assigned the job of washing the bottles before they bottle all these things, was also a pharmacist. Femi was to writing everything down as the accountant. He's an accountant. So you see that the man set up what they were going to. In fact, he told me I was going to be a teacher, and told my other brother that was to be teacher, your uncle Olu Atobatere. He was a retired principal of schools, and now I'm still in the teaching. So he gave every one of us what we are going to do. And once the man said we are going to be a teacher, even though I worked in PRT or something, I again come to be a teacher.
Thank you very much. So now that your dad told he predicted what his kids would do, and a lot of them ended up in that path. What do you predict each of your kids will end up doing? I know some have started their profession, but what?
Most of them have already shown what they are going to do. I can tell you straight that starting from Kayode is in this is going to finally is going to be a businessman. No matter what, whether it's in computer, it's going to be in big business. You see everything, that's what it's doing. And when you look at Jumoke is a nurse, that is what it's going to be. He may now end up having his own clinic, having maternity center as they normally do in Nigeria or something if he goes back to Nigeria. But if he's still here, he's a nurse. Always a nurse. And when it comes to Kunle is already where he is. He's a businessman. There's nothing anybody can do. That's why he's on time. He started that long ago. You know, when he first school. That's why he did it. Kunle went to, you know what Kunle did? While we were saying that we had no money for this, Kunle went to the people who are making blocks and was carrying blocks and making money. In fact, he gave us some money. That's what the man will do. You know, when they are talking of work or no work, he's already driving taxi, despite the fact that he's even working, he's a paid worker. So he always has a way of getting his own done the way he wants it. So he's also a businessman. Folusho is already in business. There's nothing anybody can do. And Afolabi is only going to university just to satisfy anybody. Afolabi is an entertainer. He's in film industry, something, dealing with film, dealing with acting, singing. That is what he's going to do. Now, when it comes to Tai, Kaya has been saying he wants to be a physiotherapist or something, but I believe that Taiwo and Kende will be in the medical line. One may be nurse, one may be physiotherapy or something. That's what they are going to do. That's my prediction.
Thank you very much. Is there any question you would have loved to ask your dad? And what will that question be?
The question, I had many questions. The only question he did not answer me that I will have had anybody or the Tobatele could tell me is when Tobatele was born, and I want the photograph of the man, our grandpa. I was trying to use our affiliation if I could. So if you have the opportunity, it is our partners we can get Tobatele's. This I went to National Archives if I can, but anything dealing with the Jabuchurch, some people are hiding during the chieftaincy that they were hiding it. Now the question I would have liked to ask the man, he already told me many things. For example, he told me he was born in 1900. What the man told me, many people didn't know. I know he was born in 1900. I know his father died in 1910. He was the one who gave me all those things. He told me his lifetime, how he got to something and something. There's nothing I want to ask him.
Okay, thank you. You growing up, we remember that you used to talk a lot about your late brother Obashola.
Yeah.
What was his influence on you?
His influence of my brother on me is so enormous. He's the one who made me an academic. He never knew. You see, I don't know, I like the man so much because he was brilliant. He passed, I wrote everything about him when he died in this. He passed he left school. Elisha Grand School, he didn't finish it. He left in Form 5. From Form 1, he had been taking tuition. And he took the London Matric, what they call LM in those days, when he was a Form 5 boy. And he was sure, he first took it in Form 4, which he shouldn't, but in Form 5 he took it, and he was sure he was going to pass it. So, because of the assurance he had for himself, he left school. So that he could save a year. But when the result came, he passed almost everything, credit, but he failed, I think he failed English. He didn't get credit in English, and it is fail in English, fail in all. He failed a very important. So, he couldn't go back to school. I know my father wasn't happy when he left school. Then on his own, he went to work, he did it. He took the GCO level, and he got GCO level in 1954. He got his GCA level in 1955, was exempted from inter-BSc econ. Then in 1956, he took inter-LLB, and he was one of 11 candidates that passed it as external candidates of London University. Then in 1957, he took LLB Part 1 final. He passed 2 subjects and failed 2. He passed a criminal law and I think land law, and failed the law of trust and law of trust. But the interesting thing is that when he retook it the following year, he passed the 2 he failed before and failed the 2 he passed. So he went to London. With that, I was influenced that I want to be like him. I started reading. You get me? And of course, you know, he got his LLM finally and got his FRSC, Fellow of Royal Society of Arts. So he influenced my academic to the extent that by the time I caught up on him, I didn't know. So when I came back with MSc degree in mathematics, my brother just enrolled for the master's degree. He couldn't believe it. But the interesting thing is that he was the one who influenced my reading all the time.
Thank you very much. This is a real good interview. Yeah. So I have some other questions to ask concerning being a parent, and we'll take a time out right now. Okay.